and welcome to another edition of Around the Best Town. I'm your host, John McCormac, and today I'm with Bill Brandenburg, the concert maestro of Woodbridge. He's been doing shows for us now for almost 10 years, and we're going to talk about a whole lineup of over 40 different shows, over 50 different shows in Woodbridge this year. So first I'd like to talk about the actual shows themselves. They all have been moved to Woodbridge High School. Parker Press Park is going to be too small, and Tansman Park is going to be too small to have any kind of reasonably good social distancing. So we've moved every single show over to the high school. The field is being lined into 8-foot boxes, and there'll be 2 rows of 8-foot boxes, then a 4-foot aisle, 2 more rows of 8-foot boxes, a 4-foot aisle, and everybody will have appropriate social distancing, because your group or your family unit will get into one box and you'll be far enough away from the other places. So it's all outdoors, obviously, and we're looking forward to a terrific year. So we have from Sunday through Thursday. So why don't we start with Sunday? That's what you booked for us. We've Country Sundays. We've been doing this now for 4th year, 5th year?
Yeah, I think 5 years.
5 years, okay.
Yeah.
We've got a great lineup. Let me let you take it over. And we talked about over the years how the people that like the country music like the cover bands for the most part. And we have a lot of different covers here. So let's start with ZBTB.
Yeah, and actually, we use country in a very broad definition.
Okay.
It's country rock, it's southern rock, it's bluegrass, it's country. So it's not necessarily just what people think of as country music, but it's all country. It's in the country family.
Gotcha. So we start July 2nd.
July 12th is the first one. Everything got rolled back because of the restrictions on crowd sizes from the governor. So we had some stuff that had to be pushed back into September.
We basically lost the first week and replaced it into the last week.
Right. We rolled it into September. So yeah, July 12th is Zach Brown Tribute Band.
Now they were broken up.
We had them 2 years. They were on Sundays our most popular act.
I don't know anything about them, and I love them.
They were great, and we had really big crowds. And then last year they broke up, took a hiatus. They didn't know what they were doing, and so I said, okay, well, I'll forget about them. And then they wrote to me this spring and said, hey, we're back together. I think they have 1 or 2 member changes. But they do the music of Zach Brown. Zach Brown's known for mixing his own original material with very unusual covers for country music. He covers Metallica and Van Morrison. So it's a very eclectic show. But his original material is mostly country music. He's considered a country artist. But it's country, it's rock, it's pop, he's all over the place. And they're fantastic.
And before I forget, all the Sunday shows start at 6 o'clock.
Sunday is the one night that starts at 6.
And our second show is a band I actually saw when I was younger, Kinderhook.
Kinderhook, they were a staple.
Charles Gardner.
Yep.
Where else did they play? Zappies.
Brothers 3,
all
they
played
over.
with Cowtown. They played, all those, who else did we see? The Good Rats, all those
late 70s and 80s bands who played.
And they have an amazing following, Kinderhook.
They were on the verge of being actually a national act, a well-known national act. They opened up for some really big names, and they were right on the precipice, and then, things happened. They just didn't quite break through to the mainstream, and then they disbanded for 20 years. So I think it's about 10 years ago, they said, hey, why don't we get the old band back together?
Right. Last year I saw people I hadn't seen in 30 years. They came to see them in Woodbridge.
They were very popular back in the day, and that audience is still around here. They were very big in New Jersey.
Next up, live. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And they do country rock. They do some originals and some familiar country standards.
Next up, live at the Fillmore, which is an Allman Brothers tribute.
If you like the Allman Brothers, these guys are amazing. I've seen them a couple of times.
They've never played here before, right?
They played here a ticketed show.
A
few years ago in Woodbridge Middle School.
All right.
And they have 2 amazing guitarists. And if you like the Allman Brothers, you'll be impressed.
Okay.
So
Chet Watson and his Atomic Ranch Hands that cover Hank Williams.
They're kind of they're old style country. They do Hank Williams and old country standards, old timey like 1940s country music.
Okay.
They're from New Jersey too.
Dead Grass covers bluegrass, Grateful Dead.
They're basically a bluegrass band, and they do Grateful Dead music, and it's and really good vocals too. Grateful Dead are known for a lot of different things, but strong vocals is really not what they're known for. You know, they're a jam band. But these guys have amazing vocals and can do the jamming, so that's going to be a fun show. And I think that's also the anniversary of Jerry Garcia's death.
Oh, okay.
So it just worked out that way. It's like, oh, how do you like that?
Southern Steel on August 16th. They're a bunch of local guys.
Southern rock band, very big in central New Jersey, the Outlaws and Marshall Tucker and that type of music. We had them last year, also a really nice turnout.
They kicked off. They were supposed to kick off this year's.
They were supposed.
But they were the ones that got moved.
They had to get rolled over. We had a cancellation in August, so we took them from June and plopped them in our August.
Hank Hart's a guy we all know from the Elks. He's a past Exalted Ruler last year.
I know Hank from my old neighborhood.
Oh, do you really?
I knew him when we were 12 years old.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Actually, when he enlisted in the Air Force, he called me and 2 or 3 other friends over to his house to take some of his records because he was going to be gone for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And when you're 18 years old, 4 years is forever.
Right, right.
So he said, well, I have these albums sitting here doing nothing. Why don't you come and take some?
Wow.
So
he's got a relationship with the big band, with the Outlaws, right? Didn't he open for the Outlaws a few times?
The Southern Steel opens for the Outlaws whenever they're in New Jersey, and Hank actually manages their fan page for the Outlaws.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we have the band, tribute to Bob Dylan.
It's the band.
The band. Oh, yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, they do a tribute to the band usually, but we had them do that twice already, and the lead guy said, you know, we also do a tribute to Bob Dylan. And I said, well, you know what? Let's do Bob Dylan this time.
That'll work.
We did the band twice already.
Right.
So they're going to do, and actually the band does a lot of Bob Dylan songs. So there's a lot of overlap between those 2 shows.
And second to the last, Panama Dead covers New Riders of the Purple Sage.
New Riders of the Purple Sage. That's another one of those country rock bands that were really big in the 70s and into the 80s. And the guy who's the head of this band was in the New Riders.
Okay.
So one of the members of this band is from the New Riders of the Purple Sage.
And then we take Labor Day weekend off, and the last Sunday show is September 13th, which last year was unbelievable, the Linda Ronstadt experience. This girl looks like her, sounds like her, it's amazing.
She was really stunning.
Yeah.
And she was another one that was supposed to be in early July, and we rolled her over to September. Looks and sounds like Linda Ronstadt, and her band is really amazing.
They were
fantastic band. So that's another really great one.
Okay, so you don't do Mondays. We get that from a different promoter, but I'll just tell you what's happening on Monday nights. It opens July 6th, which is a week away. The Dupree's open. Then we follow that with the Brooklyn Reunion Show. July 20th, Shirley Alston Reeves. July 27th, the Capris. August 3rd, Sounds of the Street. August 10th, Shadows of the 60s. August 17th, Stan Ziska's Del Satins. August 24th, the Cameos. August 31st, the Infernos. And then off Labor Day, and September 14th, the last show, The Happenings with Bob Miranda. Now, Doo-Wop Frankie, if you're looking, he's our expert on Monday nights. He comes to every single show. He's got family members that work for us. They all come to the shows, and we check with him before we book acts on Monday nights. He's that good. And then Mondays start at 7, because most Mondays there is an opening act. It's from 7 to 7:30. And I'll just tell them, in case you recognize any of the names, the Belltones, Nostalgics, Jukebox Legends, Julian and Dominique, Gerard Esposito, Stiletto and Saxman, and the Symphonics. So 7 of the 10 shows have a 7 o'clock opening, but even the ones that don't, they'll do 2 sets and they'll still open at 7. So Monday nights is 7 at Woodbridge High School. Now we'll get into my favorite night, which is Tuesdays, 7:30. These are all the 70s basic cover bands. So let's talk about them. If you can't see Springsteen, to me, the Eagles is the second best band ever. July 7th, the Best of the Eagles opens up. They're terrific.
Yeah, we've had them before. We've had a string of Eagles bands.
We had Hotel California, then we had Eaglemania.
Right.
And Hotel California one year played every year for years, but they weren't touring in the East when we needed them.
Right.
So we couldn't get them, and then we just went to Eaglemania, then we somehow wound up with Best of the Eagles.
It's funny, I have a friend in Trenton, Joey Licaradello, and several years ago he said, Bill, are you familiar with Best of the Eagles? And I said, no, not really. They're Trenton based. Oh, they would be great for your series. I said, oh, we have Eagles bands already. I don't really need it. And then when you needed an Eagles band, I was like, oh, that band Joey talked about, they're from Trenton. and we booked them, and they were really as good as anybody we've had, and a nice turnout for that too. So yeah, they're going to kick off the Tuesdays. That'll be fun.
Next week we have Beatlemania again.
Yeah, this is the first time that they're playing here. What's his name? Lombardi, a guy Lombardi who comes to all the shows. He's been telling me about them for the last few years, and well, you know, we had other Beatle bands, or we've
had hit or miss with the Beatles.
Yeah, we've had some really good ones, and some odd ones.
Not so good one not too long ago.
And he was telling me about this band, and I was down in Ocean City, Maryland last year, and they were playing down there for free. And I said, oh, let me go check them out. And I went to check them out, and I said, oh, they're actually really good. So this year we added them to the list.
Well, you know what the problem was with the last Beatles band is they played over half the songs their own music. Now, if you're a Beatles tribute band, people are coming to hear the Beatles. You want to throw a couple songs in that you have as your own group, fine, but not half the concert. So that didn't work out so well. But anyway.
Yeah, for some people didn't like that. We actually had a really big turnout for that show because people like that band, but people who only want to hear songs they know weren't too keen on them. But they were a great band, though.
July 28th, the Doobie Others. They were terrific.
We had them once before. Last year was the first time. They do the music of the Doobie Brothers.
There you go. There you go. They don't see every place else we put a little parentheses. You don't have to do it with Beatlemania or with the Doobie Others.
Right.
Back to the Garden, 1969. Parentheses Woodstock. Now they've played and they had last year off, right? Or did they come last year?
No, they were here last year for the 50th anniversary of Woodstock.
Oh, right.
They actually played.
That's right. They took the year or two off.
But the year before that, they were off. Yeah, this will be their fourth or fifth time playing, and they have a bunch of different singers. So they have a female singer who can do Janis Joplin and Grace Slick, and they have a guy who can sing Santana and Joe Cocker, and a guy with a different type of voice who can do Crosby, Stills and Nash. So they kind of approximate because there's a wide variety of acts at Woodstock, and they do a really good job of sounding like all those different acts because they have so many singers.
And we should say we try not to have the same 10 shows every year, I should say. So we'll keep 7 and rotate 3 out. So you'll often see a band 2 years in a row, they take a year off.
Right.
2 years in a row, take a year off.
Right, exactly.
And here's one that does exactly that. August 11th, the Guthrie Brothers, which does Simon and Garfunkel. They're terrific, too.
Yeah, we've had them several times, and then we did skip them 2 summers ago because we had them the 2 summers before that, and they're coming back, always very popular. And their show is interesting because they don't just do Simon and Garfunkel song number 1, song number 2. They have little stories.
It's a history lesson.
Yeah, it's the history of Simon and Garfunkel, where they were when they wrote this song and what inspired that song.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
First time coming to us, August 18th, Frontiers, which plays Journey.
This is their first time here, and they have a female lead singer. So a lot of people have a hard time doing the vocals for Journey. They're very challenging for men, but they came up with the bright idea that a woman can hit these notes a lot easier than most men can. They have a fantastic female lead singer doing the music of Journey. Good band.
August 25th, we've seen these, and we get great reviews. Broken Arrow does Neil Young.
Amazing. I've had people, musicians, tell me this guy's a better guitarist than Neil Young. And I won't comment on that, but he's a really good guitarist. I don't want to make Neil Young mad. But and the vocals, some people try to mimic Neil Young by going into that falsetto, and it sounds like somebody trying to imitate Neil Young. This guy's natural voice is just like Neil Young's voice. So he sings naturally, but sounds exactly like Neil Young. So, yeah, they're very popular.
September 1st, my favorite of all time, of course, is Bruce Springsteen, but the B Street Band is terrific. I've seen them in New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, all over Jersey, Point Pleasant, other places. I just love them because I love Bruce.
And they've been around a long time.
They're the oldest ever cover band of just one artist. They became the first
Springsteen cover band. Yes.
And no one else has covered anybody longer than they've covered Bruce. Is the way they said it.
And they've played here more than
every year,
more than a couple times.
Yeah, well, I wonder why. The mayor's a Bruce fan and he's an Eagles fan. So how I said we rotate? We're never rotating the B Street Band. Never. No, sorry, folks.
They come back every year.
Yes.
We have rotated Eagles bands.
But we always have an Eagles.
We always have an Eagles band.
Those are 2 staples.
Yeah, we've had 3 different Eagles bands. So yeah.
And then one that got great reviews last year too. The last show, September 8th, Starman, David Bowie.
Yeah, we had them for the first time last year, and that's another one that they were supposed to kick off Tuesdays this year, but because of all this stuff with the pandemic, they got rolled over to September. Really, really good band. He does an amazing job with, David Bowie's very eclectic. He's not just rock and roll. He does funky music, and some of it's even a little jazzy. And this band really does all the different styles of David Bowie. From disco to rock and roll to more folky acoustic stuff. Very good band.
I just noticed the food drive. Folks, we always have our cans out. We ask people to bring a can or box of non-perishable food to the concerts. Monday and Tuesday, really, a lot of people bring them. The other shows are not as well attended, but we're doing it every single night from Sunday all the way through Thursday. So please do your best to bring a box or can of non-perishable food. Mondays and Tuesdays, we actually have a raffle. Sansone's Route 1 Auto Mall donates usually a GPS or a TV or something like that, and you get a ticket. I'm not sure we're going to do that this year, though. We have to talk about that because we're staying away from the actual exchanging of things.
A lot of face-to-face.
Yeah, maybe we'll still collect the food, but we might not be doing that ticket. I guess we have to consider that. Maybe we won't. But anyway, and also the concert hotline, 732-602-6045. You can call that during the day if it looks like rain. Explain that, the way we do this. You've got to tell a band by about 1 o'clock, 12, 1, 2, if they're on or off.
2 at the late, usually 1:30. We like to let them know by 1:30.
Once they leave their house, they're paid.
If they show up here, they're paid, and if
you can imagine, folks, every night it always says chance of thunderstorms, always.
Yeah.
So you really have to take a risk.
New Jersey in summertime.
Yeah.
I may become a weatherman when I go into full retirement because I've spent the last 11 years checking the weather every half hour all summer long.
And you can be wrong half the time, and you're still a star if you're a weatherman. So it's good career to have.
Yeah, but it's not so good to be wrong when you're doing an outdoor concert.
Well, it's really difficult because we have to put our heads together. We have really good weather down at Public Works. I don't know what they call it, Doppler or something like that. That's mostly right, more than any other service I've seen. That's very, very accurate. But you're still taking a chance because at 3 o'clock, it doesn't look like anything, and then by 7 o'clock, it's pouring rain, and you spend your thousands of dollars on the group.
What happens quite frequently is people look out their window at 6:30 in the evening, and the sun is out, and they're like, "Oh, great. Let's go to the concert." But we have to make that decision at 2 in the afternoon because we need to set up for sound, and then we have to do sound check. That's a process that takes a long time.
Right.
So sometimes at 2 o'clock, it looks like it's going to rain the rest of the day. Let's cancel the show. And then at 6 o'clock, we find out, whoops, it all moved out.
And we're a big town, so sometimes it's pouring rain in Colonia at 6:30 and perfectly sunny outside in the Woodbridge High School field.
Yeah.
So people don't know that they're far away and it could be different weather.
We've had over the years a number of times people have texted me, "Bill, I'm not coming, it's pouring," and I'm standing in Parker Press Park and the sun is out and we're ready to have a show.
Right.
But maybe as close as Edison or Rahway, it's raining.
Right.
Yeah, that does happen a lot.
All right, now those shows are 7:30. Now we have Woodbridge Wednesdays. They're also 7:30, and this is where I have no idea. These are new acts every year. We rarely get the same act twice. So I'm just going to let you take these. Start with Liz Weiss on July 8th.
The Wednesday series, that's the very eclectic original bands. Some people would say artsy, although it's really not highbrow. It's very accessible music. Liz Weiss is kind of a gospel and soul singer with a beautiful voice. We had her here a couple years ago.
Oh, we did? Okay, I didn't recognize the name.
Yeah. As a general rule, I don't repeat bands on Wednesday the way we do on Tuesdays, or Mondays. But I do rotate them back in, especially the ones we love, usually after a few years, 2 or 3 years later. She's been here before. And Wednesdays, all the shows have opening acts. And I should say, this year on Wednesday, all the opening acts and all the headliners are female or female-fronted acts.
Okay.
Because it's the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment.
Oh, you told me this. We talked about this way back in January. Yeah.
Women got the right to vote in August of 1920, and it was 100 years. I had this idea a couple years ago of doing an all-female series because we had so many really strong female acts. And back around the holidays, I was talking to a guy named Joe Durso. He's a musician, but he's a founder of the Light of Day benefit concerts that Bruce Springsteen is involved with. Joe D'Urso is one of the originators of that whole Light of Day concert series. And I saw him. I was at a Light of Day concert back at the beginning of the year, and I said, you know, I've had this idea kicking around in my head of doing an all-female openers and headliners show. And he said, oh, for the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment? And I was like, yeah.
Sounds good.
I hadn't realized it was the 100th anniversary. And I said, but if I was ever going to do it, this would be the time to do it. So all these acts on Wednesdays, openers and headliners, are female or a female singer, you know, with a band that's not necessarily female. So Liz Weiss is July 8th. She's a gospel soul singer with a beautiful voice. Opening for her is Danelia Cotton, who... she's kind of a cross between Led Zeppelin and kind of jazzy, old style jazz. So she can be acoustic or electric. Also a very good singer.
Next week, Gabby Gardner, Zara Phillips.
That's a co-bill. A co-bill, for people who don't know, usually you have an opening act that plays 25 minutes and the main act, the headliner, that plays 90 minutes or whatever. A co-bill is when you have two sort of equal acts, and instead of one being an opener, they do 50 minutes and the other act does 50 minutes, so they're equal. Abby Gardner, she plays the dobro, kind of an Americana, folk Americana artist. She'll do the first 50 minutes, and then Zara Phillips is a British singer-songwriter, and she'll do the second 50 minutes. I have to note, we were going to actually not mention this at all. We had agreed to not mention this with Zara Phillips. Her guitarist is world famous.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Richard Thompson. And I said, let's not say that Richard Thompson's going to be here because, first of all, we don't want 5,000 people with social distancing. And also, this is about you and Abby Gardner. You know, it's your show. He's just your, you know, accompaniment. So she said, yeah, okay, you know, we don't have to mention him. But Richard got kind of excited and put it on his website that he's going to be here playing with Zara Phillips. So for people who know who that is, that's a really big deal. He's one of those guys who, you know, he sells out McCarter Theater every year. You know,
I'm not one of those guys who knows who it is.
In the general public, his name is not that well known, but he's on Rolling Stone's list of best guitarists of all time.
Oh, wow.
So in certain circles, he's very well known. So he'll be playing with Zara Phillips that night. That's July 15th, or
And the
second
next one
Wednesday.
everybody knows, and she's the closest thing to a regular on Wednesdays, Amy Helm. She's played on Sundays, and she's played on Wednesdays.
Yeah, she's kind of that Americana, gospel, country, blues that can fit on our Wednesday series or fit in the country Sunday series. And yeah, this will be her.
She's a fantastic singer.
She's amazing. And for people who don't know, she's Levon Helm's daughter, Levon Helm from the band.
Next up, we have Joanie Madden and the Irish All-Stars.
Yes, and there's a story to that as well. Originally, we had a band from Ireland, the Screaming Orphans, which sounds like heavy metal, but they're actually, you know, a nice traditional Irish band, and they do, you know, pop Irish music.
Nothing wrong with that.
And no, they're fantastic. They contacted me back in January and said, "Oh, Bill, we heard you book Irish bands, and we're going to be coming to the States to do a couple of festivals. We'd love to play your series." I said, "Oh, well, let me check them out." And I checked them out, and I loved them. They were fantastic, and I booked them, and everything was beautiful. And then because of the pandemic, they just this past week said, "Bill, we were still, as of yesterday, we were still coming, but one of our big festivals just closed, canceled. Right. And now we can't come from Ireland to Woodbridge just to play Woodbridge and one other concert."
So we'll fill that one up.
So, well, no, but so that's the Screaming Orphans. They pulled out.
Oh, I got you.
And I emailed Al Schaefer, who works on all these concerts with me, and said, "Al, Screaming Orphans, you know, just pulled out. Take them off the website. I'll work on a replacement." And Al said to me, "What about Cherish the Ladies?" And Cherish the Ladies are really world famous. They've played the White House and they've played Carnegie Hall. I mean, they're a big deal. And I said, "Well, yeah, I would love to get Cherish the Ladies, but you know, we have a Woodbridge summer concert budget. We don't have a McCarter Theater budget or Carnegie Hall budget." And he said, "Oh, you know, everything's canceled. You know, they're sitting home watching TV. Maybe they'll do it." So I said, all right, reach out to them. He had booked them up at Shea Center in William Patterson up in Wayne. And he wrote to her, and she said, you know, half my band's in Ireland, but I can pick up some players around the tri-state area. Yeah, we'll do it.
Oh, good.
So Joanie Madden, who is the founder of Cherish the Ladies, is going to bring her Irish All-Stars to Woodbridge. So
right.
That's going to be fun.
We have 10 seconds each for the next 5 bands, so give me the Big Takeover.
The Big Takeover are from Hudson Valley. They do reggae, ska, and soul music. Big band sound, horns, good lead singer who's from Jamaica.
Next week is Susan Werner.
Susan Werner's been here before. She's kind of folk, jazz, and cabaret. Great voice, great piano player, and great guitarist.
Next up, the Honey Dewdrops / Bobtown.
The Honey Dewdrops are an Americana duo. They've been here a couple times before. Beautiful harmonies, great musicians. And Bobtown was here about 5 years ago. It's 3 women and a guy. Beautiful 3-part harmony. Also kind of Americana and pop rock. Very good band.
Danielle Nicole Band.
From Missouri. She's a blues bass player and singer, and she's bringing her band. They do original blues and some blues standards.
And then last up, September 2nd, Tristan McIntosh.
Tristan McIntosh was on American Idol. She was like a top 5 finisher, and she's also Linda Ronstadt. The Linda Ronstadt band is Tristan McIntosh. And last year when they were here, she said, you know, Tristan also has her own band where she does her music. And the Linda Ronstadt band was so great. I said, I'm happy to have her. I still want the Linda Ronstadt.
So she'll play twice here.
So she's going to play twice this year, once with her band doing original material and some classic rock standards, and once doing the Linda Ronstadt.
Okay, that'll bring us to Local Band Thursdays, which you also don't book. We kind of do that one ourselves. We don't use a promoter. Starting on July 9th, we've got the Dead Cowboys, followed by Black Rose, followed by Sure Sounds, followed by Moonlight Mile. I think they're mostly Stones.
Yes, Stones. Yep.
Blame It on Richie's a local group. Seven Stones a local group. Smoke and Mirrors, Marty and the Martians, Revolver, which used to be Love Revolution, Shaman, which covers Santana, and we close September 17th with 9 South. They're another these bands are great. Marty and the Martians every year, 9 South every year, 7 Stone every year. They're just all terrific local bands.
Yeah, I actually told one of the guys in 9 South, I came to see them one time, and you know, as much as we love B Street Band and their set, you know, they're etched in stone here. I told the guys from 9 South, they did a couple Springsteen songs.
They were great.
And I said, you should do a Springsteen show as well. You know, keep doing what you do, your normal show, but you should do a side, you know, project of all Springsteen, because they are really great.
All right, couple quick points now. The hotline, 732-602-6045. Food drive every night. Please bring a can or a box of non-perishable food. And the concert the field will be lined into 8-foot boxes with aisles for social distancing. So we want everybody to be safe. We'd prefer you to wear a mask, of course, when you come to the shows. We're really looking forward to it. We didn't think we might have it with everything going on, but we got it in, and we're going to hopefully have a great summer, 50 shows in Woodbridge. Thank you, Bill Brandenburg. Thanks for watching Around the Best Town.
Thank you.